You are intoxicated.
Yeah. Let's go round again then. So it's Wayne from Stadium in London talking to Barry Kamen, artist, painter and stylist.
Hello Wayne.
Hello Barry.
About time we met, isn't it?
Now is definitely exploring my own demons. Photographs are like jokes, short, punchy narrative. Photography does document time. I look at my dad, my son, I look back at all the work I've done and it's like a diary of my life. Self-portraiture is driving me to question why I do it and what the images mean to me and to other people.
Was it like the main counselor for the painting stuff?
Yeah, not just the painting, kind of overall. I'd like to give him that freedom to work. Not that it's something that he works in often in that medium and on the kind of commercial level, but he does with me, and he enjoys it, I guess, within using me as an image within his work. He can feel free to still, mash it up as one.
Was a kid. So we're talking many years ago. When I saw such a kind of football shoes.
Wild a little bit, and it doesn't always fit in with the pattern or the flow of whatever else is going on at the time. But I need to do that, and they also need to. And we're just fortunate we can get away with it.
Tell us a bit about where you think fashion is at the moment, particularly fashion in Europe.
It's in a kind of interesting moment. Everyone's sort of trying to incorporate, not everyone, but ones that are pushing the boundaries a bit, I try to incorporate beautiful pushing around, art in their shows or in their collections, and that's with photography and all sorts of No, so you got young kids like Craig Green who's kind of trying to do stuff, and I don't know many men watching, I don't keep an eye, but Chris Shannon and people like that are trying to bring a bit of art into streetwear. Oh, that's good.
Like that language traps you. And that's what he was trying to express. When you create 26 characters, you're locked into expressing yourself with these 26 characters. And he's sort of saying what I say musically, that if we have a Western scale that has 12 notes, well, there's notes in between those 12 notes. You can go a half step in music and you skip so many notes. There's an infinite amount of numbers in between 0 and 1. Infinite, right? There's so many spaces that we can be inside of between 0 and 1. Same
About. I think that the key with fashion in rock and roll success in terms of promoting various singers or groups was the fact that it's much more exciting to read about the group's image than to read about the group's music. You don't really want to read words that talk about the music. It's not interesting. The music is a given. If you haven't got the music, forget it anyway. So
Very first time you were totally involved doing videos and everything?
no, I've made most of them with Mark and get involved with each one to whatever extent I need to. I mean, with the new one I shot parts of it and I edited parts of it, and Mark and my brother Barry, and then it took the main bulk of it. I let them get on with it really. As far as the animation, there's a lot of animation and
And same with, you know, young photographers. They're trying to bring in, you know, kind of art-based ideas. But the thing is, then it gets sucked into the mainstream of fashion, and then it becomes a bit pretend art.
In what sense does it become pretend art?
Well, they all want a bit, and so you start looking at what magazines are doing and what photographers are doing, and they're going, "Oh, look, everything's a bit art-based at the moment. You know, let's throw some paint around. But they don't know how to do it. They've never done it before, so they just suddenly do it for the first time on a shoot. Oh yeah, now I'm going to do that, and I'm going to start doing collages. And they've never done collages, as if you can just do it once and that's it. You know, it takes a lot of time to kind of not necessarily perfect your own way, but you know, to get your own voice, it takes years. And so, you know, a lot of photographers are jumping and go, oh yeah, I want it to be a bit art this and that, and they're just kind of looking at what else is going on and then using, so, you know, sort of quick 2-hour Google research, and yeah, I can do it, you know. And so the ones that have been spending a long time at it are really good at it, and the ones who just think, oh yeah, now everything's moving towards art and I'll have a bit of that, it's just a bit, you know. And so it ends up being, you know, it's just not very interesting really. But, you know, because it takes a long time to really know your own, you know, it's like you, when you're mashing up your films, you've been doing it for years, it's your voice now that's on there. You know, it's not like, oh, I'm going to do that now, and then next week you go, oh, what's happening, I'll do that. And so that's what I just mean by it being a bit, you know, it's a bit fashion. It's what fashion is really. It's like, you know, oh, I'm really into blue this year, and next year, oh, everyone's into blue, I'm not into blue anymore. I go, no, if you're into blue, man. Just fucking get on with it. It doesn't matter what anyone else is into. So, yeah. But there are some, you know, and I think that, and on a non-commercial level, kids are making stuff themselves again, and that's great. You know, mixing it up and trying things out, and I think that's really good. And you know, fashion, I know from being in meetings, you know, and you get these people that they employ to go out and take pictures of people on the street, and they bring them in and say, this is what our new collection's based on, and then they're just kind of trying to copy what some kids are just kind of getting at, but they're just trying to copy it and turn it into a commercial venture. It's just a bit not that interesting. So I think outside of the mainstream of fashion's quite good. You know, what kids are doing on the street and what one or two designers are getting at. You know, always the big ones like Come to Garson and that are great. You know, always got time for them. You know.
I think that possibly there's a lot of people who are starting in the industry are probably having trouble or having a time trying to balance the business side of fashion.
Well, yeah.
Which it is, you know.
Yeah, it's a business, a massive business.
With the actual kind of the integrity of what they actually do.
Yeah.
So, you know, trying to balance the two, obviously you come across the fact that you have to make a living.
Yeah. And I can understand that, totally. But
I mean, it's quite difficult to remain that kind of independent.
Yeah.
When you're trying to make enough money to actually support what you do, because you know there is a substantial amount of money that you have to make to run a studio, to have your equipment, and to actually create your work as well. So, you know, I think it's quite a strange balance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. But you know. Yeah, you know, from working with companies, they they kind of begin to forget who they are and how they got to that point. You know, and they're always talking about, oh, but is it our DNA? Is it all that bullshit kind of, you know, terminology that companies will use? But you know, they're all running around trying to, you know, chase. And it becomes very dull. You know, when I was working with Puma a lot, I didn't know who they were. You know, It's like, you know, you're the guys that dressed you know, Pele, Maradona, Johan Cruyff, Eusebio, Usain Bolt, you know, it's like fucking serious, you know, and it's like, and you're trying to chase Abercrombie and Finch or fucking Uniqlo, what are you up to? You know, it's like, who are you? You know, and I think they're getting a bit better now, actually. So yeah, because they're so worried about, you know, and they want to become bigger and bigger and bigger. They think that the success is just becoming bigger and bigger and bigger rather than becoming better and better and better. And so I understand, you know, the commercial, you know, but the people that own those big companies or even the smaller companies, you know, they don't know who they are. You know, it's just like Puma's owned by the same people that own Gucci or, you know, or YSL, you know, it's like they're just sitting there going, "Oh, you've got to make more than you did last year. That's it." You know, so the real chance for dirty creativity is not really allowed. You know, they might pull in one or two bits and they try to be a bit funky to give them an edge, but it's really not. It's not deep. We're getting there. So you can.
I mean, with respect to what you do with the line.
Yeah.
There is an element of that exists with the commercial work, in that they try to maintain a sort of simplicity to what they do. You know, like you get like you might get like a Marc Jacobs, well, the perfume cards, for example. And you get a plain card with just Marc Jacobs written on it, and I think things like that look really good.
Look really nice.
And you know, they work really well in the commercial world. A lot of Marc Jacobs advertising, for example, Marc Jacobs advertising is just a plain white background of his typeface on it, with his name on it. You know, for the commercial world, I think that's really well done.
No, I agree, and you know, I mean, they do employ some amazing, people are working. There's some great designers and great vision out there. It's just, you know, I'd like to see. I mean, the way it is now, it's very hard for something new, really new, to emerge. I don't know why. Because everybody's referencing, and it's so. You know, we used to have a pool of reference. That was quite small. Everyone sort of had their own pool of reference that they'd acquired, you know, throughout their time. And so it's really deep. So this is what I'm interested in. It's really, really deep. But now, because things are coming at you and there's so much, and there's nothing wrong with this either. I don't knock it. It's just kind of more of a reality. Things are coming at you so fast and so wide that your pool of reference is no longer really, really deep. It's just really, really wide. It's just like, wow, I know everything now, and I can know more. You know, today I know something today I didn't know yesterday, on top of, and so the width is there, and everyone's aware of that width. And so, for things to come out that are really, really deep are not that are rarer, I find.
By deep, you mean? What do you mean?
Well, you know, you spent a long time absorbing and studying, not even studying, but you just, you know, say if, you know, say Ray Petrie, perfect example, from Scotland, moved to Africa, and then to Australia, brought up with a kind of quite classical background. So, you know, there he is in Scotland, and, you know, guys wearing kilts, skirts, going to Africa, okay, black guys in skirts, mixing it all up, you know, going to Australia, okay, now take their tops off on the beach, Bondi, you put that together, you got a bit of a buffalo look, you know, like the white boys, black boys, you know, and then he was listening to reggae and country music, and so you got kind of, you know, black guys in cowboy hats, you know, it's like, yeah, you know, so his pool of reference was quite narrow, but global, but narrow. And so he worked more and more, and the work was always based around those things that he'd spent his life loving. And so that's and so that's what the work was about, because so his references were really deep, deep within him, rather than, I saw this amazing thing the other day. This that was great, and I saw this amazing thing. And actually, now I want to do this. Now I want to do this, and you're seeing new things and pulling that. And so they're just, your knowledge of that isn't that deep. It's not something that you've lived and breathed. It's just added onto your taste level. It's added onto your ability to create. And so they become flickers, and they become lights, and they become kind of makeup, which is fine. It just is what it is. So the depth of somebody who, and it's not about you thinking about black guys in cowboy hats every day of your life, and they very probably did. It's just he lived it. He's just like, he just was in it. It was in him. Every time he listened to a piece of music, got stoned, sat there. That's what it was about. So when he went in, it was like, it was authentic. It was that's what I know. That's what I believe in. And so that depth of knowledge is, which is why a lot of the great designers and a lot of the great, graphic designers and they're getting older now. Because back then, there wasn't that much. I was reading a book from a photographer, Joseph Sterling, and he was saying that back in Texas in the 50s, when he started making his photographs, he had no imagery. There was no imagery at all for him to look at. And he would go out and get Life magazine once every month or something. You'd see Life magazine, and you would see some imagery, imagery, and that was it. It's like there was no imagery. And so the imagery that he was trying to find was something that made sense to him and only him. And so he was so nervous. He was taking the backs of people because he was scared to take a picture of their front. So he had all these pictures of people's backs, and so then you look at that and you say, and that informed Weber, and then Weber informs, and Buffalo, and it's like, it's like, okay, you can see that because there was hardly any imagery, so you had to really dig deep and try and find that imagery yourself. And now there's so much of it that it's just, we're not necessarily experts at one or two things now. We're kind of, we know everything.
So how do you feel like? How do you think that the kind of advent, because you started doing your work before, kind of computers played a big part in presentation. How do you feel the internet plays a part in what you
brilliant.
do?
How does it play a part in what I do? I don't know.
Right, can I get some more water?
Yeah, but I haven't got any more bottled water actually. Sorry.
Tap water like out here, is it?
It's all right, but I don't do tap water. No. No. Actually, I might.
About styling.
Well,
how does styling relate to your kind of painting?
I started bringing in. I was painting a plaster for a few years, and that was because something that we used to use in the styling. And then I sort of like, okay, I've got to integrate it a bit, and just so I started to paint a plaster. So that came right into. So then I used to feel like I was styling up a painting. So I'd do a painting. So it might be a portrait. That's when I was doing more portraits. So I'd do a portrait, and then I'd sort of sit back and go, okay, now I'm going to put the plaster on, just to style it up. So I started to literally style up the painting. So that was the first time where I actually felt that you can integrate. Anyway, the two, and
Okay.
yeah. Now it's not so much, but I still, when I move things around on the canvas or on the paper, it's similar to when I'm moving around a badge or a pen or whatever. It has a similar. Yeah, it has a similar, but anyway, yeah, nice hats.
Okay. Do you know the names of them?
What, the hats?
Yeah. If I point to a hat, could you just tell me the name of it?
No, it's not cool.
Okay, so I'll say that one there.
Yeah, that's a resistor, I think. That's is that a resistor? No, it's not. It's not Amy. That's probably a resistor then. Yeah, that's a resistor.
Right.
Resistor and so that's a resistor, and then that would be a Stetson.
Okay.
So they're the two main kind of cowboy hat makers. I mean, Stetson didn't just make cowboy hats, not a resistor, but they made brilliant cowboy hats. So yeah, so that's an old Stetson that was used for the military. So clever. Sits back there if it doesn't come off. It's just such.
Yeah.
Such.
That's quite nice.
Yeah.
Which military was that?
I think. I mean, it's
Australian.
No. It's American. It's American.
Okay.
Sort of north of. Not the Mounties, but it's kind of around that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Just a lot of that's an old beauty. This one. That's a hard hat, a riding hat, but an old priest's hat. So that's what the priests would wear. English, brilliant.
Is that a hard rim as well?
Yeah, it's fucking hard.
Okay.
Really hard. So that's when the priests used to ride.
It was the hat and the helmet.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the old hard, where I think that's an old riding hat. That's a riding hat. Again, the helmets.
That's a really nice one.
Just tough little helmets.
I need to get the camera a bit, don't I?
Yeah.
If you do them.
And this,
The modelling thing.
This is an old. I'm not sure what that is actually, but that's such a beauty. Love that one. Really amazing hat.
Yeah, that's quite nice. And what fueled your collection for hats?
Styling. Like you're doing a shoot, I need a hat. And when eBay started, when it first used to be able to pick them up for nothing. It was fantastic. You used to go there and you find some little, my dad's passed away recently, and I've got to get rid of his collection. My mom says we got too many hats in the house, so and there's like 5 hats for $10. And so a lot of these I've had for a long time. Now they're like, this is a blah 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 Stetson, blah blah blah. No, it's $180. You're like, what? I just bought 4 of those for $10. So yeah, you used to be able to buy them really cheap. So yeah, wherever I go, I just look for hats. That's just a few. All over the place, hats. Aren't there? Okay. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
well, my dad always wore, and it's been in the river a lot. So and it cost. I think it cost like $2. But it's just a perfect little old hat. When I go away, that's what I just carry. Just goes in the bag. Boom.
Fold it up.
Yeah, fold it up. It's all lost its shape, but it's
It still has
yeah, it's a proper hat. It's a beauty. And when you look at a new hat, I don't know if there are any new ones here. Well, I think that might be a new one, newish one. Just the quality is just not as good as when you look at a real hat. It's like the quality of the everything about
the felt.
The felt. The yeah. It's just completely different. That's beauty, that one. It's another resistor. the colour of it. And you just look at the difference in quality that they used to make. You just see, can't you? It's just like, wow. So yeah. But you know, I got some pairs of sunglasses, a box full of bits and bobs, rings and chains and you know, it's just, I just pick stuff up and you're just wandering around and you just find stuff. So
This MA1's a classic, isn't it?
yeah, actually that was one that's
Which is the best MA1?
that was one that the Japanese guys took some of my images and
Okay.
what you've done.
Which is the best MA1?
Which was the best MA1?
That's quite a nice made, quite
Yeah.
nicely made one. It's quite thick, isn't it?
Where are my MA1s? Yeah, that one I've had forever, that's the thing. It varies, you know, this is a beauty. That is absolutely, that was really old, that one, that's 50s.
Yeah.
Blue lining, which is really rare.
Yeah.
Worth a fortune now, this apparently. About
Is it an American one?
800 quid, yeah. That's a summer weight, it's got no lining in it, no padding, whereas that's a winter weight. Again, that's a really old one, worth a lot of money. Again, not with the orange lining, and that's a piece of armour, that one. It's so hardcore.
Yeah. That's good. Reversible.
Yeah, this one's not. Well, it is, but there's no point because it's the same colour. Same with that, whereas the orange was about, if you were stranded, you know, you came out of the plane, you're stranded, you turn it inside out, and then you're visible.
Yeah.
And, so, you know, there are many. There's so many different. I mean, original, obviously, it has to be. But you know, they varied from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and then that was probably it. And then they became a fashion item after that, really.
Okay.
So that's, you know, that's probably the 50s. Yes. Yeah, and you know, the whole point of it is that they're for flying. So they're really low because you're sitting down. You know, it's for sitting down. So they're
I see. Yeah.
So that's why they're super short. So anything longer, it's like, what's that about? Which is what you know, which is the same as you know, you can see the difference when you a riding coat. This one's quite a big one actually, but the smaller ones, you know, the Lee were actually meant for riding, whereas the Levi's are meant for working, and they're longer.
Right.
So the Levi lies out for sitting down. Whereas Lee riders are meant for sitting down. That's why they're really cropped.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So everything, you know, had its function. You know, these weren't riding jackets; they were building jackets. Never been worn. Must be early 70s when Carhartt first died.
Right. Yeah, I like the look of the new denim.
Yeah, it's got that 70s down there. Yeah, this was a Japanese company that I did a collection with. So we just used mine.
Okay.
And they did a, you know, that. They did a MA1 with suiting material.
Do you like that sort of stuff?
It's alright.
Do you wear it much?
No, I actually have worn it. You can see I've worn it quite a bit. But I prefer the real ones. I should tell them I love it. We supposedly did the collection together. It didn't really.
It looks quite good.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's fully reversible, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean it's got the
They've done it really well.
the authentic green sort of.
Yeah, they've done all the details they've got. But the Japanese would, they'd get it bang on. But it was for a tailor, so it was for a guy that makes bespoke suits. And so we did this together. So that was his version of me and him working together to make a suit.
It's quite a nice cut, isn't it?
Yeah, he's done it very well. The pants are good.
Yeah. Are they green on the inside? They have a lining.
Pants, no?
Oh, they do. That's just the pockets.
That's just the pockets. And then they did the regular suit as well. So it's just a straight suit. Just with that there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is actually really nice.
Uh-huh.
Actually do wear that. Well, I happen to wear a suit.
Huh?
I said I do wear that. Well, I happen to wear a suit often. Yeah, so look at that, that's a real old buffalo. That's what we used to live in. That was part of our buffalo uniform. That was.
Workwear stuff.
Yeah, just the old track pants. So you'd wear. The very first shoot we did, that's what we were wearing, these pants. But with shoes, these kind of shoes.
Yeah.
And but with a tailored jacket, and it seems quite normal then. But in '83, to put sportswear with a jacket and a pair of shoes was, and a big workwear coat was like literally was unheard of. It really was unheard of, wasn't it? What's that? What's that in your belly? It's stuck to you. You've been in the wars, haven't you?
Cool. Should we get that stuff downloaded and get some shots of this, of these hats?
Right. This is how you walk down, alright? That way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Alright, your heels won't, you'll